So hello everyone, welcome again. It's been a really long time for me that I've been on a PnP call. So finally I'm back and I found a reason to come back. So I've still been working in SharePoint for quite a long time, and I think I'm back now as well. And I've been working for Point Five for I think 2 years, where I got an interesting project where I was working with PnP Search and was able to bring in Microsoft Foundry, which was AI features in PnP. So for the people that don't know me, I'm Elio from Belgium. And let's go on. So what is the project exactly? It's all around PnP search, and we want to enable the user to have better information that is coming from search and better understanding on what they are searching. So first of all, we optimize the KQL query from SharePoint. So from the user, they pass in a query, and then we are going to reformulate or enhance that. And then another part is the summarization of what you get back from SharePoint is not always great for the end user. So we are going to summarize the contents of the actual document or page where we are going to extract key information. So it's not that we are working with the search data, it's the live document content, and that's what we are going to summarize towards Microsoft Foundry. So how did we build it, or how did I build it? It's an extension on the PnP Modern Search web parts. So love the Modern Search web parts and mainly the extension framework, because that allows you as a partner, as a consultant, and so on, to enhance the experience of PnP search. One funny fact is our solution is in app source, meaning it's a SaaS offering, and apparently the SharePoint store didn't fully support SPFx libraries, so we had to come up with a solution that has been fixed, I think, nowadays. But the first time when we released it, it was just breaking because there was no web part or an app customizer in it, so it didn't look for libraries. So it was not a valid solution, and there were some JavaScript errors, very funny back then. So what we do is we have two phases. The first phase is the query optimization, and then the second phase is a summary. That's where we are actually focusing on two models. We are using the GPT mini model for the keyword suggestions or the enhancements. And then we can use the GPT-5, a larger model for the summarization. But as a customer, you can also choose with us. So commercial products, but let's first go and show you a couple of things on how it works, and then I can dive into the code. So here you see the summarizer. We have a toggle where we can say, do you want to have the optimization on or off? And if we are going to say, okay, let me give some hotel reviews or hotel review, then it's going to start the search, and then it's going to start the summary. So this is what happens when you are going to search without the optimization. It's just hotel review, but not every time that the user is going to search it's the best search result. So I accidentally refreshed. That was not on purpose. So if I go and do the same thing again, and I toggle this one on, what is going to happen then is it's going to enhance it. So it's going to say, oh, it's hotel review, guest review, maybe customer review, and so on. So you get already more results. You can also see multiple guest reviews were given on this hotel, and then you can also see which sentences we used for the actual summarization. Now, let's go over to the code so that you can actually see what has been built. So in our code base, there is like the extensibility library. And first of all, the whole thing is built with web components. So we have a couple of web components. The main one is the PF summarization component and the search query optimization component, because these two are used for the summarization and for the enhancements. The second one is the summarization template. The template that we use will show you that as well. And then the custom query modifier. So the first thing on the query modifier is it's going to modify the query. If you already worked with the PnP extensibility library, this is one of the main features that you can do. What it's doing is the moment a user is going to search, it's going to pass it over to the PnP search results web part, and then the PnP search results web part retrieves that query, and then you can do something with it. So what we do here is we retrieve the query text. We are going to check if there's an actual value. If there's an actual value, then we are going to optimize it. There's some internal caching as well in it, so we don't want to continuously go to AI because every call is going to cost some tokens. We want to save some precious costs, so we are going to create a cache. So we are going to check if we already did the same call, and then we are going to enhance it or return the same promise. Behind the scenes, there has been a change in GPT-5. So if you were working with GPT-4 before, there were some things that were like temperature and so on. This has been removed. With GPT-5, you don't have temperature anymore. So that's also why we build in some checks if a person is actually using GPT-5. And what we also do is check out or calculate the maximum tokens. And our maximum tokens looks like this. So for GPT-5, there's a high reasoning model and a minimal reasoning model and so on. So there are 4 types. And we have calculated the number of tokens that are needed in order to have the high reasoning working. So like, for instance, for when working with GPT-5, you need at least 1,500 tokens in order to have the reasoning model working. And then you can do the extra calculation on whatever you want to do with your call. So for me, for instance, the summarization. So it's going to be 100 tokens multiplied by a word count, and then plus also an extra buffer to make sure that it's going to work and that there's enough tokens. For the minimal, it requires 150 tokens. Comparing this to other models, like for instance, GPT-4, there we could just work with 50 tokens at a minimum. So that's quite different if you're coming from GPT-4 over to GPT-5. So that was on the keyword side. From the moment you've done your keyword call towards AI, it's going to render the template. And in our template, we have a summarization HTML. This is just a web component, can be dropped in any template, but we created our own template with the PF summarization. Here are a couple of properties. One of the properties that is very important to us is the total item count. And the reason why the total item count is very important is that's also something that we can check whenever a search call is being made. And there's another thing that we also check is when the, let's go already to this one, that the PnP search result loading overlay, because once the PnP search result is going to render, it's going to execute your template. So, and at that moment, it's also going to do some handlebars execution and so on and so on. Now, the problem is when you're working with AI, you don't want to do an overload of API calls because AI is it's going to take quite a long time, but also there's a threshold or a throttling limit, and you don't want to reach that really quickly. So the limit on your items should be very low. So less than 10 would be ideal. But if you're going to do like 20 calls at minimum of 10 or less than 10 seconds, it's going to be throttled. So what we noticed is the moment you start searching and you do a research or researching again, it's going to spin the wheel, but behind the scenes, it's going to do an update to the current results. So your API call is going to happen again, and then it's going to show the new results, and then the API calls are going to happen again as well. So what we did here is the moment our summarization template or web component is going to load, it's first going to check if there's a spinner on the page. If there's a spinner on the page, then we are going to ignore it. The moment the spinner is gone, then it knows, okay, now it's time for me to actually start working. And then we have some logic on which kind of content we support, like pages or documents or so on. And from those documents, we are going to retrieve the sentences, as I already mentioned. So we get the document content over here. We have some promises so that we make sure that the same document is not going to be called multiple times, so that the same ones are going to be stored in a promise. From the moment we receive the sentences that are important to that document in combination with the current search keyword, we have a whole logic. So that's something I cannot share because that's the business logic of our solution. We get the sentences back, and these sentences are going to be set, and then we can start working with the summarization. So the moment we have that, we receive these sentences, we send it over to our AI service or Microsoft Foundry. We get the summary back, and that's what we are going to show in the end. So in the end, it's just some HTML that is going to be shown, like, is it a valid document? Yes, okay. And then we are going to show the data. So that's basically a good overview of what is being working behind the scenes. So over here in our web parts, there is nothing more than a SharePoint search with some configuration. Here you see the search template, and then under here you have our layout options with all the information that is required. And at the end, it's just a connection point from the extensibility library with the PnP search result web part. So I hope it was some interest to you, and